Welcome to Season 2 of the Soualichi Stories, presented by the Foresee Foundation and funded by UNESCO. The Soualichi Stories series includes tales of our island's beloved legends, history, and folklore, as told by exceptional Sint Maarten storytellers. Foresee Foundation is honored to share these stories as it brings people together and bridges the gap between generations. These stories remind us of our culture, our heritage, our one island. Through these stories, we hope you feel more connected as we strive to keep the art of storytelling alive. Please enjoy this next Soualichi story and all the other stories in our series, and let us know if there's any other particular story you would love to hear in the future. Enjoy!
Anansi and the Plantains. It was market day, but Anansi had no money. He sat at the door of the cottage and watched Tiger kiss under the cat, the dog, and the coat, and a host of others hurrying to the market to buy and sell. He had nothing to sell, for he had not done any work in the field. Turtle had won the few coins that he had saved in the broken calabash that he kept hidden under his bed. How was he to find food for his wife Sjorensly and for the children? Above all, how was he to find food for himself? Soon Sjorensly came to the door and spoke to him. "You must go now, Anansi, and find something for us to eat. We have nothing for lunch, nothing for dinner, and tomorrow is Sunday. What are we going to do without a scrap of food in the house?" "I am going out to work for some food," said Anansi. "Don't worry. Every day you see me go with nothing and come home with something. You watch and see." Anansi walked about until noon and found nothing. So he lay down to sleep under the shade of a large mango tree. There he slept and waited until the sun began to go down. Then, in the cool of the evening, he set off for home. He walked slowly, for he was ashamed to be going home empty-handed. He was asking himself what he was to do and where he could find food and for his friends to see him in this state. Then up came his old friend Brother Rat with a large bunch of plantains on his head. The bunch was so big and heavy that Brother Rat had to bend down almost to the earth to carry it. Anansi's eyes shone when he saw the plantains. He stopped to speak to his friend Rat. "How are you, my friend Brother Rat? I haven't seen you for a very long time." "Oh, I am staggering along," said Rat. "And how are you and the family?" Anansi put on his longest face so his chin almost touched his toes. He groaned and shook his head. "Ah, Brother Rat," he said, "times are hard, very hard. I can hardly find something to eat from one day to the next." At this, tears came into his eyes and he went on. "I walked all yesterday and I have been walking all today and I haven't found a yam or a plantain." He glanced for a moment at the large bunch of plantain on Brother Rat's head. "Ah, the children will be having nothing but water for supper tonight. I am sorry to hear that. I know how I would feel if it had been me who had a wife and children who depending on me. Without even a plantain, said Brother Anansi, I have to take home for my family. Brother Rat looked at his bunch of plantains too. He picked it up from the ground and looked at it in silence. Anansi said nothing, but he moved towards the plantains. They drew him like a magnet. He could not take his eyes away from them, except for an occasional quick glance at Rat's face. Rat said nothing. Anansi said nothing. They both looked at the plantains. Then at last Anansi spoke. My friend, he said, what a lovely bunch of plantains. Where did you get these in these hard times? It's all that I have left in my field, Anansi said, Brother Rat. This bunch was the last that I have until the peas are ready. And they're ready yet. But they will be ready soon, said Anansi. Brother Rat, give me 1 or 2 plantains. The children haven't eaten nothing, and they have only water for supper. All right, Anansi, said Brother Rat. Just wait a minute. Rat counted all the plantains carefully and then said, well, perhaps, Brother Anansi, perhaps. Then he counted the plantains again, and finally he broke off 4 of the smallest plantains and gave them to Anansi. Thank you, my good friend, Brother Rat, but it's 4 plantains, and there are 5 of us in the family. My wife, and our 3 children, and myself. Rat took no notice of this. He only said, help me put the bunch of plantains on my head, Brother Anansi, and do not try to break off anymore. So Anansi helped Brother Rat to put the plantains on his head. And Rat went off walking slowly because of the weight of the plantains. Then Anansi set off for his home. He could walk quickly because the 4 plantains were not heavy. When he got home, he handed the 4 plantains to his wife Chuksi and told her to roast them. He went outside and sat down in the shade of the mango tree until Chuksi called out to say, plantains ready. And Anansi went back inside. There were 4 plantains, nicely roasted. He took up one and gave it to his daughter. He took up another one and gave it to his son, and then his other son. And last he gave the biggest plantain to his wife. After he sat down empty-handed and very sad looking. And his wife said to him, don't you want some plantains, Anansi? No, no, said Anansi with a deep sigh. There were only enough for the 4 of you. I'm hungry too, but I would prefer that you eat the plantains. His daughter said, Daddy, aren't you hungry? Anansi said, yes, my child, I am hungry, but you are too little. You cannot find food for yourselves. It's better for me to remain hungry as long as your stomachs are full. No, Papa, said the children, no. You must have half of my plantain. So each one of the children broke their plantain in two and gave it to Anansi. When his wife Chuksi saw what was happening, she gave Anansi half of her plantain too. So in the end, Anansi got more plantain than all of them, just as usual. The end.
We hope you enjoyed this inspiring Soualichi story as presented to you by the Foresee Foundation and funded by UNESCO. We hope this story helped all of you feel more connected to the island and to each other. More information on the story and schedule can be found on Foresee's website and Facebook page. We look forward to connecting again with you soon in our next Soualichi story.